The X Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell is largely an opinion talk show. All opinions, comments, or statements of fact expressed by Rob McConnell's guests are strictly their own and are not to be construed as those of the X Zone Radio Show or endorsed in any manner by Rob McConnell, Relmar McConnell Media Company, the X Zone Broadcast Network, its affiliated networks, stations, employees, or advertisers.
All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
Welcome back, everyone. My name is Rob McConnell. This is the X Zone on Talkstar. Our toll-free number worldwide is 1-800-610-7035. That's 1-800-610-7035. My email address, xzone@xzoneradio.com on MSN Messenger, xzoneradiotv@hotmail.com, and our website, www.xzoneradiotv.com. My guest this hour is Sherry Ward. We're going to be talking to Sherry, who's the author of Seekers of the Soul. It's a book about 7 psychics and intuitives. Now, Sherry has been published in various periodicals, including Common Ground magazine in San Francisco. Formerly, she was a feature writer for a newspaper. And she is now working on a book about the grandson of Edgar Cayce, America's most famous and well-documented psychic who died in 1945. And Sherry, welcome to the X Zone.
Thank you.
I've got to ask you this. As a professional journalist, what was the inspiration to write a book about these 7 psychics and intuitives?
Well, the inspiration was a personal experience. I had a diagnosis of cancer in my left kidney. And so I went for a second opinion, and it was in league with the first one. And I just didn't feel like I had cancer, just a gut-level feeling. And so I started doing some research on my own, and I looked into some alternative methods, none of which really amounted to much. But one got my attention because it was a research project by Dr. Norman Shealy, a Harvard-educated former neurosurgeon. And he had done some work with psychics, and he said that psychics often disagree with each other, but when they're in consensus, when they agree with each other, they will be 95% likely to be accurate. And that was pretty impressive. Mm-hmm. And so I thought, okay, if I can find at least 5 really good psychics who come recommended on some level, I will put this question to them. Do you think this in my kidney is malignant or not? And so I did just that. I set out to locate 5 persons, asking word of mouth, contacting respected organizations, and I let them each give them a reading for me. I didn't tell them about the matter at hand. And if it didn't come up, then I would say, well, what do you see for my health? And then I just laid my cards on the table at the end and told them what I had been told. And each one of them said no, that their sense was that this was not a malignancy. And I didn't think so either, so I went with their opinions, went back to the doctor a year later, and he said, I don't know what this is, but it's definitely not cancer. And I got to keep my kidney, which was pretty big.
And we're very happy that you did. Please stand by. You and I have to take our commercial break. We'll be back in 2 minutes. X Zone Nation, Sherry Ward is our special guest. Her website is www.seekersofthesoul.com. That's www.seekersofthesoul.com. The name of her book is Seekers of the Soul. 1-800-610-7035 is our toll-free number worldwide. Email xzone@xzoneradio.com. On MSN Messenger, xzoneradiotv.com, and our website, www.xzoneradiotv.com. Sherry Ward and I will be back on the other side of this commercial break as the X Zone continues. We're right here, live and around the world from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away. Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365. Hi everyone, Rob McConnell here, and I wanted to spend a moment on internet streaming. Everybody has heard about internet streaming, but not many know much about it. Did you know the internet streams just about everything?
Movies.
From new releases to old classics.
TV shows.
Almost every show, every episode, and much more. But the question has always been, how do you do it? Well now, thanks to the folks at 123 Ready TV, I have the answer for you. They have developed a simple program app, 123 Ready TV, that you install on your Windows PC, Android smartphone, or Android tablet that can have you streaming like a pro in less than 5 minutes. You truly won't believe how much is available or how easy it is to do until you try. And for a one-time cost of only $19.99, this product is a real winner. To learn more about 123 Ready TV, visit our website at www.xzbn.net.
Hello, I'm Justina Marsh, and with my dad Pete, we are going to present a new show called Too Good to Be True. Together, we are aiming to discover more truths about this world and beyond. Do you have unanswered questions about the world? Do you ever wonder about aliens, conspiracy theories, or the universe? There are many shows discussing subjects such as pyramids or UFOs, but we want to relay this information based on our own research, including from spiritual means. Hopefully, listeners will be helped with their own beliefs and will appreciate the psychic insights that add to the previous research and information. We both look forward to sharing this insight and beginning this journey with our listeners. Visit xzbn.net for more information about when to listen.
Sherry Ward is my special guest, X-Zone Nation, and we're talking about Sherry's new book, which is about 7 psychics and intuitives. And the remarkable part about this story is that it was based on reality. It's not a fictional story. And the name of her book is Seekers of the Soul. And if you'd like to find out more about Sherry and how you can get a copy of Seekers of the Soul, well, what you'll be able to do later on is go to her website at www.seekersofthesoul.com. Sherry, before we went to the commercial break, we were talking about how you decided to go out after hearing some rather disturbing news from a doctor that you may have had cancer. You didn't believe it yourself. You went and found 7 psychics. Now, out of all the psychics that you went to, were these the only 7 that said you did not have cancer? Or how many psychics did you first see, and how many of these psychics told you the same thing? And why did you pick these 7 for your book?
Okay, actually, I initially just went to 5 for the cancer matter. Mm-hmm. I figured 5 would be plenty, and they were unanimous in their view that whatever it was in my kidney, it was not malignant. As one of them said, I just feel like you could safely live with this the rest of your life. And I got really intrigued by psychics. Like a lot of people, I had been a little leery of psychics. I didn't really want to go to somebody for a reading and have them put something in my head that was negative, because that's scary, and how do you get it out of your head? And so I was very careful about making sure these people came recommended on some level, whether it was from a friend or a respected organization. And then as I continued to get readings, which I had backup appointments to these 5, just in case some of them disappointed me or fell short, then the readings themselves became a source of fascination. I was very intrigued, what are they going to come up with? And then I got very intrigued, how did they get this information? Especially when what they said turned out to be accurate, in my case at least. And I wanted to know how they function and what gave them the confidence to make these pronouncements? And did they have weird experiences as children? Did they set out to be psychics? Was this something they just stumbled into? In other words, I wanted their stories.
So what did you find out about these psychics, and where do the psychics get their information from?
Boy, that's an interesting question. And actually, I would say they all work differently. Some feel that they get it from their ancestors who work closely with them, like maybe their grandmother or somebody on the other side who they work with. Some feel that they are actually tapping into other dimensions. And as I understand it, the string theory of physics says that 11 different dimensions occupy the same space. And so if this is a multidimensional world and you can develop the abilities to tap into other dimensions, that's possibly a real source of information and possibly very useful information. And so that's where some get. Some of them get them from their clairvoyant abilities, their supernormal abilities. Like they see pictures, they actually kind of see movie-type images at times. They hear things, they smell things, and so that's their source of information.
1-800-610-7035 worldwide. Xzone at xzoneradio.com is my email address. On MSN Messenger, xzoneradiotv at hotmail.com, and our website, www.xzoneradiotv.com. My special guest this hour is Sherry Ward. And Sherry, when you were visiting these psychics, did you test them, or did you just have blank readings?
I just had blank readings. I don't really get into the testing. I figure that's a waste of my time. I prefer, when I don't even have any questions, I like to just let them run with it. You know, read me. Tell me what you're getting. What are you picking up? What's going on? And then toward the end, once we have established a rapport, then I'll usually ask questions if I feel comfortable with them, if what they have said has seemed accurate. If they say things like, do you have a sister? I'm not taken back by that. A lot of people who are trying to test them think, oh, no, you should know that. Well, you know, it may be a sister-like person that they're picking up on. It doesn't really matter to me whether it's a literal sister. They're picking up on somebody who is like a sister to me. So I don't get into the testing. That doesn't interest me. That's a waste of my valuable time and theirs. So I like to, you can tell, once they've given you a 20-minute spiel or so about what they're sensing, then you have a very good sense of, is this someone who is tuning into you, someone who has a high level of accuracy or not? And if it isn't, you don't really want to put an important question to them anyway. I usually just try to get off the phone about them.
Yeah, you know what? I've been doing the show now for 17, 18 years, and I've had so many psychic readings. I must be the oddball because nothing any of the psychics have ever told me has panned out.
That is very unusual.
Is it possible because I always keep my guard up?
Well, yeah, there is one lady in the book who talks about that. She said if somebody comes to her for a psychic reading and they really don't want to be there, it's not going to be a good reading because on some level they are not participating. They are not really wanting to go there with this person. So sure, you have free will, and if you're not, you know, feeling simpatico with this person, I think what they can get is very limited. And, you know, you really need to work with psychics who are recommended.
Sure, you know, like
anybody.
You know, like psychics, even like Sylvia Brown, she turned out to be a big disappointment to the millions of people who had faith in her when she did that big foobar on Montel Williams.
Yeah. You know, I have mixed feelings about Sylvia Brown, but, you know, she did a lot of good to people, for people with some of the things she first came out with.
But was it Sylvia Brown who did so much good for the people, or was it the people themselves who did good for themselves?
People were hungry for that. They're still hungry for that. I think a lot of us have had psychic experiences. So to go around saying psychics don't exist, that's, if you've had a psychic experience, you know that those things are real. And so we are hungry for something more. We are hungry for something beyond just science, a little bit of magic, a little bit of, and maybe God really did give us supernormal abilities that we can hone and use for good. And that excites people. That makes people hopeful.
But why do people give so much credence and so much money to psychics? Like, is this a sign of where we are in this society of ours, that we have to pay people to listen to talk to us?
Yeah, I think a lot of people don't want to accept responsibility for their own lives.
Yeah.
So if they can afford it, they'll go from psychic to psychic until they hear what they want to hear. And then even often, then they won't go out and do the work. They just hope for these good pronouncements to come true. But that's not the way it works. You have to make your life. But I think a psychic can give you guidance and steer you in good directions.
But there have been those psychics in the past who have given very bad advice to people, and the advice that they've given them has cost these people dearly.
You know, I've often wondered, can you really look back and decide that was bad advice? Maybe there were other factors that were going to come into play if you had taken the other decision that you don't yet know about in evaluating a decision. It's hard to decide those things in looking back. I didn't have any terrible experiences with people giving me awful advice. There was a lot of advice that didn't feel right to me, so I sure didn't take it, you know. You better use your own sense of things. You can't just put your life in somebody else's hands. If that doesn't feel right, don't go with it.
But if you could cope with life, if you could find the answers yourself, and if you're not lazy or irresponsible, and if you're not used to passing the buck, why would you go to a psychic?
Well, sometimes you need guidance. Like, would this be?
But why not go to a minister? Why not go to a friend?
Well, because you're hoping for somebody who can see beyond. And they say if you can afford it, it's best to see 2 or 3 different people and get their sense of it. But, you know, the quality of the psychic is so important. And so just getting somebody from an ad or an 800 number, that's really not what you want to do. You want to ask around and get someone who's, you know, very ethical. I prefer people who work through prayer. Most of these people I interviewed work through prayer, and they ask that only information that is useful to their clients come through, only information that is beneficial. So, you know, it depends on what kind of an operator you are, I suppose.
Well, what happens if, all right, in your case, it was a happy ending, thank God. Mm-hmm. I'm very happy for you, because I don't want to see anybody sick. I hats off to you for that, and to the power to be, whoever it was that was able to cure you, so to speak. Mm. But there are those psychics who feed off of those who sit in front of them, and what they're out there to do is make an almighty buck. How do we know the difference between the good guys and the bad guys? Think about that. We have to take a commercial break. My very special guest is Sherry Ward, www.seekersofthesoul.com. The name of her book is Seekers of the Soul. 1-800-610-7035 is our telephone number worldwide, X-Zone Nation. And Sherry and I are going to be back on the other side of this commercial break as the X-Zone continues. We're right here on the Talkstar Radio Network from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Once again, my contact information is 1-800-610-7035 on MSN Messenger. Got this one. It's a new one, xzoneradiotv.com, and our new website, www.xzoneradio.com. Sherry and I will be back on the other side of this news break as we continue right here in the X-Zone.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Hi everyone, Rob McConnell here, and I wanted to spend a moment on internet streaming. Everybody has heard about internet streaming, but not many know much about it. Did you know the internet streams just about everything?
Movies,
From new releases to old classics.
TV shows,
Almost every show, every episode, and much more. But the question has always been, how do you do it? Well now, thanks to the folks at 123 Ready TV, I have the answer for you. They have developed a simple program app, 123 Ready TV, that you install on your Windows PC, Android smartphone, or Android tablet that can have you streaming like a pro in less than 5 minutes. You truly won't believe how much is available or how easy it is to do until you try. And for a one-time cost of only $19.99, this product is a real winner. To learn more about 123 Ready TV, visit our website at www.xzbn.net.
Sherry Ward is my special guest, www.seekersofthesoul.com. Sherry is the author of Seekers of the Soul. It's a book about 7 psychics and intuitives. Sherry, thanks very much for joining us. So how do members of the X-Zone Nation and the listening audience know between a good psychic and intuitive and a bad psychic or intuitive?
Well, one thing I think you want to watch out for is, do they scare you without giving you the solution? Are you forewarned about something within, the way to avoid what could be a difficulty for you? If they don't, then my red flag goes up. Or do they try to get you to come back, like, with some hook, like whatever negative hook that they're warning you about that scares you a little, and so you feel you need to go back to them. If they don't free you, then you've got somebody to be wary of. And I think if they charge exorbitant fees, that's another red flag for me. I'm not saying they're bad, but I just don't. I really question the ethics of that. So I think if you hang up feeling good, feeling steered in a really positive direction, feeling you've gotten useful guidance, then that's probably a good reading. If it's too good, you're getting married next week, you're meeting. If it's too good, then I would be a little leery there too, especially if it doesn't pan out. I don't think that's their role. I think their role is to kind of help you with your life, not to live it for you, not to paint a picture that's rosier than it really is, or to scare you. I avoid those kinds of things.
If psychics are so dead on, and I'm glad in your case they were, how come they can't predict the atrocities that happen in this world? How come not one psychic came forward and tried to warn any other governmental officials when it came to 9/11? How come nobody came forward when President Kennedy was going to be assassinated? How come nobody has come forward with the winning lottery numbers or where the next oil field will be found?
Well, for one thing, who knows if they didn't try to warn the government? Do you really think anybody would have listened to them?
Well,
I don't.
You know what? I believe that a psychic would have caused enough of noise that somebody would have stood up and listened. I'm sure the media would have loved to have gotten a hold of that story, especially if they would have been right. But it seems that psychics they look back into the past, most of them. And, behind vision is 20/20.
I don't think anybody's ever really had a really good, well-organized panel of psychics and put certain questions to them. Sometimes they get feelings and they don't really know what it's about. I mean, it's a big world out there. Say you get a really dire, uneasy feeling. I'm not sure you can always just say, oh, I'm zeroing right in on New York City and an airplane crashing into a building. There very well may have been people in the city who sensed something but didn't quite understand what it was about. I mean, being psychic is a relatively new field. This is something sort of new. And
well, wait a second. Hold on here. How can you say it's new when the Bible has these prophets, and that's what a prophet is a person who has a psychic impression? So I can't agree with you that it's something new. I think it's something new that has been brought to the masses because of greed and power. That I will agree with. But when it comes to the ability or the existence of psychics, gosh, even witches way back in the early days we used to use spells to conjure up visions, so we could call that a psychic experience as well.
That's right. What I really said was it's a relatively new field. They've always been around. You are exactly right. And people have conferred with them for centuries, whatever they called them, seers, oracles. I mean, it goes way back, which also makes you think there must be something to it, that this hasn't gone away. But just as with any field, you're going to get good ones and bad ones. But I think it's an underutilized resource. And let's face it, the police use psychics. The government use psychics. So they're pretty quiet about it, but they definitely are in use today.
Well, the government uses remote viewing more than they do psychics. And as far as law enforcement, no, it's not. No, it's not.
It's very similar. You're using
no,
the
it's
same
totally.
kinds of
It
abilities.
is totally different from a psychic prediction. It is totally different. It is. All right, tell me how you think it's the same.
Well, I don't think it's the same. I think it's the same in that you are using supernormal abilities. These are not your everyday. You're tapping in to, I think, psychic intuitive abilities.
Well,
So
when you talk about tapping into a psychic ability, I can't put remote viewing in that same category because, it was examined and it was discussed and researched at Stanford University in their intuitive school for psychic research. Then it was used by the CIA under very controlled circumstances. The CIA doesn't believe in psychic phenomena. They do believe in remote viewing, though.
Then what do you think you're doing?
I believe that what they're doing is their thought projection. I believe that there is a source or a skill that has yet to be defined, and that this is what science is looking for. It's when it comes to psychic predictions where you go to the Akashic records, I think that's a little far off. And let's take a look at some of the greatest prophets of our modern time. Nostradamus, Edgar Cayce. Their wrongs outweigh their rights.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Sometimes, human beings have will, and sometimes when you put out a negative prediction, who knows? Maybe the power of prayer has influenced the outcome. Maybe you said California's going to have a bunch of earthquakes, and the people that live in California, or at least a certain percentage of them, prayed a lot about that. I personally believe in prayer,
So do I. So do I.
So who knows? They may have prayed, and we may have changed the course of things in that regard. We really don't know.
So tell me, are you a hard, fast believer in psychic abilities now? And were you a psychic believer prior to your own experience?
Yeah, because I am somewhat psychic. When they told me I had cancer, honestly, I just didn't feel like I did. I thought, if something in my body was trying to kill me, I think on some level I would know it, and I don't feel like I have cancer. So that's why I was inclined to go with these people's views, because it was in accordance with what I felt. So yeah, I think it's an exciting, untapped area, and I don't think we're done with it. I think it's going to be around for a long time to come. In fact, I think it's going to get more prevalent. So I would like to see us police it a little bit.
Big time.
Give people some guidance on this.
But how do we police so many people? Because it's anyone now who can afford the $8.50 for a website, and they go to Geospace and they get their website free. They're up and running in a day.
Well, you can't ever stop those, and you can't ever stop the people who are going to go to them, but hopefully...
So how do we police it?
Well, I think if you it's like us having this conversation where you try to suggest some guidelines for folks so that they're a little bit forewarned, and that they ask their friends and family, have you ever been to anybody? And you try to see people who come recommended, and you check the validity of what they said. Did that work out? Was that genuinely useful? Or was it just cheap entertainment? Sometimes it's just entertaining.
So basically, it's consumer beware.
Yes.
And I think that we have to keep looking at it as entertainment, because once we start putting it into the realm of reality, I believe that we have a real problem on our hands.
Oh, well, that's interesting. I think it is already in the realm of reality, but it's coming out of the shadows, and it has been in the shadows, and I think that's healthy.
I think that it was in the shadows for a very good reason, because the percentage of charlatan that is in the psychic community, I would put up to nearly 93%.
You know, you've never had a good psychic reading. I want you to have a good psychic reading so that you walk away going, wow.
I don't
wow.
I don't believe there is such a thing as a good psychic reading. I believe that what a person gets from a psychic reading is what they want to hear and what they want to believe. And that anything a psychic gives you can be interpreted to fit any event in your life.
Well,
because like I said, how come no psychic has ever hit the lottery numbers? How come no psychic has never discovered that gold mine? How come the psychic has never picked that stock that is going to split? There are too many variables in it.
You know, I don't know that you really know that. They may have picked that stock that split and kept their mouth shut.
Now you see, you're doing exactly what I think a lot of psychics do.
Okay.
I gave you a situation, and you fit it to your own belief.
You know, I've put that question to psychics. I have asked,
and I'll tell you the answer they give you. It's because they cannot use their gift for personal gain.
No, only one of them said.
Oh, that's the universal one I hear all the time. What was the? What were some of the answers you got?
She was just scared. You know, I asked. Like 5 years ago, just different. I buy and sell a lot of real estate, and I've asked for information on that or on. You know, financing a certain person, would this be a good idea? So I got some useful information.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. So why do you think I get these Yahoo readings, and you get these credible readings?
Are these coming recommended? Is somebody recommending these people to you?
I'll tell you something. I've had some of the top psychics on this show, and one of the worst readings I ever got was from Kenny Kingston. One of the very worst.
Oh, you know, I don't really think I know who Kenny Kingston is. I know the ARE, which is an organization in Virginia Beach, Virginia, really rigorously field tests their
I've had Sally.
people.
I have had Sally Feather on the show a number of times.
Sally Feather?
Yeah, she's in charge of the ARE.
No, she isn't. Never heard of her.
You haven't?
No.
Who's in charge of the ARE?
Kevin Tedeschi is the current executive director, and Charles Thomas Casey was the executive director for decades, and he just retired 3 years ago. So I don't know who Sally Feather is. But I'm a lifetime member of the ARE and working on a book with Mr. Casey, so that's just not right.
Okay, maybe my information's wrong. I thought it was the ARE. We're checking that out. So what's the story with Casey? Why was he so well regarded when he really didn't do that much?
Oh, he did. He did 14,000 readings, which were...
He predicted that Atlantis was going to surface off the coast of Florida in 1968, and it didn't. Well, he predicted the end of the world a couple of times.
I don't know if he predicted the end of the world.
Oh, and by the way, Dr. Sally Feather is, her maiden name is Ryan. She was with the Ryan Institute. I'm sorry about that, guys. And I'm sorry about that.
Oh, the Ryan, RHINE of Duke University. Yeah, that's a respected organization.
So
I personally don't know.
So Edgar Casey.
Casey did lots of inspired readings. Just some beautiful stuff came from this guy. Some of the things he said certainly didn't come true. He gave a lot of physical readings. He did have documented cases of healing people, including his own wife who was dying of tuberculosis. And he really came to his talent very reluctantly. He didn't want to be the weirdo in Hopkinsville, Kentucky, but it was a God-given gift, and he finally used it really to save his wife. And he did some good works, and he's worth considering.
But why didn't the majority of his predictions happen? Why was it only the minority?
Well, I don't know that it was the minority. That's what you're saying. He certainly never predicted the end of the world.
But he did predict. He did predict the rising of Atlantis off the coast of Florida in 1968.
Well, maybe it's come up and we haven't seen it. I don't know.
Come on! Oh, come on! That's just silly.
Mind the Atlantis stuff. It's like, personally, who cares? But I don't know. I just don't know. I suppose. I don't know. If he was wrong, he was wrong, and I don't know that was...
But let's look at the good side here for a second, okay? He
All
helped
right.
a lot of people.
Yeah, he did, actually.
Okay, so he helped
He
a
was
lot of people.
very ethical. I think that's why he's so well regarded. He was a very ethical person, and he certainly worked through prayer. And
Did he charge for his readings?
a minimal, well, if you had the money, really a minimal amount, and if you didn't have the money, then you weren't charged anything.
That's great.
And I think when he formed that little organization area, which is still around, then you weren't charged. You if you remember, it was free.
All
And
right.
he was a very poor guy.
All right, stand by. All right, Sherry Ward is our special guest. I'm giving her a bit of a hard time, but this lady knows what she's talking about, and I appreciate that. Sherry, I appreciate your honesty. Sherry Ward's our special guest. Exonation, her website is seekersofthesoul.com. Her book is Seekers of the Soul. My name is Rob McConnell. Sherry Ward and I return on the other side of this commercial break as we continue live and around the world right here on Talkstar.
This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Hello, I'm Pete Marsh. With my daughter Justina, we will be presenting the new radio show, Too Good to Be True. If something seems too good to be true, it usually is. But with the help of Justina's amazing gifts, we're going to gain insight into questions that don't yet have complete answers. Have you wondered who built Stonehenge and for what reason? Why are crop circles found in the same region as Stonehenge and elsewhere? Are crop circles a hoax, or are they created with technologies that we have little knowledge of? Who built the pyramids in Egypt and also in other countries? How and why were they built? Was the Titanic switched with the Britannic as part of a gigantic insurance fraud, or for more insidious reasons? What caused the Tunguska event when trees were flattened over an 800 square mile area in Siberia? Will the new insights be too good to be true? Well, that will depend on what you are prepared to believe. Please join us as we start on this journey together. For more information on Too Good to Be True, visit www.xzbn.net.
Hi everyone, Rob McConnell here, and I wanted to spend a moment on internet streaming. Everybody has heard about internet streaming, but not many know much about it. Did you know the internet streams just about everything?
Movies,
From new releases to old classics.
TV shows,
Almost every show, every episode, and much more. But the question has always been, how do you do it? Well now, thanks to the folks at 123 Ready TV, I have the answer for you. They have developed a simple program app, 123 Ready TV, that you install on your Windows PC, Android smartphone, or Android tablet that can have you streaming like a pro in less than 5 minutes. You truly won't believe how much is available or how easy it is to do until you try. And for a one-time cost of only $19.99, this product is a real winner. To learn more about 123 Ready TV, visit our website at www.xzbn.net.
Welcome back, everyone. Sherry Ward's our special guest. www.seekersofthesoul.com. The name of her book is Seeker of the Soul. You know, Sherry, I was a little tough on you because I've had so many people on the show who have talked about psychic experiences, and they haven't panned out to anything. And you know, but I believe that you are a credible lady and that you want to get a positive message out there, and I commend you for that. And yes, I did throw the Sally Ryan stuff in there just to see if you were on top of things, and yes, you are. One of the things I'd like to relate to you is I had somebody come on the show who was a channel, and you know, and she said, well, Rob, is there somebody you'd like to say hello to on the other side? I said, yes, I'd like to say hello to my sister. And she said, oh, she's right here.
Oh, and she wasn't dead.
I don't have a sister.
Oh, that's bad. That's bad.
So now you can understand my skepticism.
Pardon?
Now you can understand my skepticism.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's not very reassuring, is it?
A question for you. What do you feel about the year 2012? Do you see it as doom and gloom, or do you see it in a positive light?
I see it in a positive light, preceded by some tough times.
Sure.
I think some old structures that maybe are not all that we need them to be might kind of be shaken.
Mm-hmm.
And so that can be scary, but I think it's, maybe a shift in consciousness to a higher level of consciousness. Yeah. I think it'll be okay.
You see, I believe we all do have what is known as psychic ability. I'm a dad, and I've gotten that gut feeling in my stomach that something is wrong, or I've looked at the phone and it's rang, or I've believed that somebody is sitting in an empty chair in the living room. We've all had those experiences. So I believe there's something to the psychic phenomenon that we yet know a lot about. And I believe that there are those out there, like the psychics that you've had the good fortune of meeting, who are legitimate. But when I used to go to psychic fairs to do the show, and I would see these people go from psychic to psychic to psychic to psychic, shelling out $60, $70 a pop. And, to me, that just left a very sour taste in my mouth.
Yes.
So it's nice to know that there are legitimate psychics out there, like the ones that you've seen, and that there are legitimate people like yourself out there who are saying, hey, listen, Rob's had his bad experiences, but there are good psychics out there, and I want to thank you very much for that.
Yes, absolutely.
What would you like readers to walk away from having read your book with? What's your message?
Golly, I guess my message is there's more out there going on than we are aware of, and we don't have to be so skeptical. It's okay to be open-minded and to consider, but to use your own good common sense and your own gut feelings to ferret out what might be worthwhile and credible and ethical and what isn't. But I think it's worth exploring the world of the paranormal. I think it can be useful to us. I think it's exciting. I think it's fun.
And you know what? I think we just ran out of time. We've got 24 seconds. Sherry, I want to thank you so much for joining us tonight. Good luck with your book. And X-Zone Nation, the name of the book is Seekers of the Soul at www.seekersofthesoul.com. I'll be back on the other side of the news at 6.5 minutes past with Lloyd Pye and the Star Child Project. Don't go away.